Are you thinking this is just another one of those videos full of cute little tips on how to win over a woman with cheap tricks and canned phrases? Well, sorry to break it to you, but you've come to the wrong place. If you're the kind of guy who's always waiting for a little manual on how to be unforgettable, let me tell you right now, it might be too late for you. But who knows, with a miracle and a bit of effort, you might manage to save what's left of your dignity. So, pay attention, because what I'm about to tell you isn't easy to swallow. It'll hurt. It'll bruise your fragile ego. But if you truly want to be more than just another forgettable guy, you better listen until the end. This is real life, no fluff. And spoiler, if you're expecting a magical solution to become the man of her dreams, you can leave right now. This game is not for cowards. There are a few things that make a woman never forget a man, and believe me, it has nothing to do with spells or magic. These are ridiculously simple things that anyone could do, but of course, almost no man does. So today, I'll tell you what these gems are, and if you have the minimum ability to apply them, you might even become unforgettable. No, I'm not promising miracles. These are just basic attitudes that women with a shred of common sense appreciate. So let's cut to the chase, because beating around the bush helps no one. Number 1, speak intelligently. The art of intelligent conversation. Something most men think they've mastered just because they can form complete sentences. Sorry to inform you, but throwing words into the air doesn't make you intelligent. It just makes you noisy. Speaking intelligently is about much more than spitting out information or appearing cultured. The secret lies in your ability to truly engage, to listen to what's being said, and surprise to respond with something that doesn't sound like a fortune cookie message. When I say intelligent, I'm not talking about quoting mathematical formulas or the latest Nobel Prize winners in physics. That might impress the nerd in the room, but it won't make you unforgettable to a woman. Intelligence in this case is about sensitivity and sharpness. Knowing how to read between the lines, catching nuances, understanding what she's really trying to say without her having to spell it out. It's useless to fill the conversation with fancy words and come across like a robot that memorized the dictionary. What matters is showing you have a brain that works, that processes what's being heard and returns something that makes sense. And yes, listening is the most underestimated part, and ironically, the most important. When she talks, it's not just to fill the silence. She wants to be truly heard, and listening isn't just nodding and muttering while thinking about the next brilliant thing you're going to say. Listening is paying attention, absorbing, and then maybe making a comment that proves you're not just there to play the part. Men who know how to listen are rare, not because it's hard, but because most just don't care. So, if you can listen and respond intelligently, congratulations, you've just left the club of boring men and entered the select group of those who deserve attention. But of course, don't forget the timing, because knowing how to talk and listen is great, but knowing when to stop is almost a science. If you hang on to the conversation too long, repeating the same points or dragging it out because you don't know how to end it, well, you're done for. Nothing is more insufferable than someone who doesn't know when to give a conversation a dignified end. The woman may have enjoyed the chat initially, but if you drag it on too long, you'll guarantee turning her interest into mortal boredom. Less is always more. So, it's not about impressing with absurd amounts of words. It's about the depth of the exchange. A short conversation full of meaning will be remembered much more than endless babble. In short, if you want to be unforgettable, master the art of conversation. Speak intelligently, listen attentively, and for the love of God, know when to shut up. Number 2, the power of being yourself. Here's a reality check. If you think you need to turn into an Oscar-worthy actor to win over a woman, congratulations. You've already started off on the wrong foot. You know that brilliant idea of changing who you are to impress her? Yeah, it's just that. A terrible idea. Because surprise, keeping up an act 24 hours a day is exhausting. And at the end of the day, the real you will show up. And when that happens, my friend, the fall will be ugly. Not because she discovered something terrible, but because she realized she was dealing with a wax figure, not the real you. Seriously, the secret here is laughably simple. Be yourself. That's right, there's no magic script, no behavior manual. Don't try to be the ideal guy you think she wants. Let's be honest, you barely know what you want, let alone what she expects. The truth is, most men who attempt this ridiculous feat of pretending to be someone else end up looking like fools sooner or later. Do you think she'll be impressed by this theater? It might fool her for a few days, but eventually, the act will collapse. Now, do you know what really impresses her? A guy who has the audacity to be genuine. Who isn't trying to mold his personality to the whims of the wind to please her. Authenticity, my friend, is gold. Women value, and highly, a man who doesn't need to hide behind a facade. One who feels comfortable in his own skin, who's not afraid to show his flaws, and who isn't desperate to please. It sounds basic, but trust me, most guys don't have the guts for this. And here's the funny thing. When you're authentic, spontaneous, things flow. No need for a show, no need for big efforts. And that, yes, creates a real connection. When you're not forcing anything, the relationship has a real chance to last. If she likes you for who you truly are, congrats. You've just taken a step towards being unforgettable in her mind. If not, well, at least you didn't waste time playing the actor. And please forget the paranoia that being yourself won't be enough. Because, spoiler, if who you are isn't enough, maybe the problem isn't you, but the kind of woman you're trying to impress. Trying to be someone else to win someone over will never work long term. The trick to being unforgettable isn't in the masks you wear, but in being so authentic that she won't even remember anyone else. Number 3. Be 100% present. The great mystery of presence. Because apparently, just being physically beside someone means nothing these days. If you think it's enough to sit next to her while you check all your notifications or stare blankly while she talks, congrats. You're just another body taking up space. The presence that matters here isn't just the weight of your butt in the chair. It's the minimum attention any human being deserves when interacting with another. Being truly present means surprise, actually being there, paying attention, interacting, and showing you wouldn't trade that moment for an endless scroll on Instagram. Look, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Put away your phone, disconnect from the outside world, and for the love of God, pay attention to what she's saying. You know how frustrating it is to talk to someone who just responds with like they're on autopilot. Of course you don't, because that's exactly what you do all the time. And believe me, nothing is more disheartening than trying to converse with a meat puppet who nods without hearing a single word. If you really want to stand out, or at least avoid being crowned the most boring guy I've ever met, participate actively in the conversation. You don't need to be a genius, but show you're there with more than just your shadow. Comment, ask questions, show genuine interest. This is the difference between being a memorable presence and being just the guy she'll forget the second she turns the corner. Now let's talk about reciprocity. That word that seems like a riddle to many people. It's not just her job to keep making the effort, trying to make things work while you float through the relationship like a hologram. Relationships are a two-way street. If she's present, making an effort, paying attention to you, do the same. Don't be that guy who thinks just because he showed up physically, he's done his part. Trust me, if you give less than that, she'll get bored quickly. Women appreciate men who know how to recognize and value small gestures, who reciprocate the effort. Being truly present isn't just about not looking at your phone. It's about being involved. If you want to be unforgettable, be someone who is genuinely there in every conversation, in every moment. Because nothing screams uninteresting more than a guy who only shows up halfway. Want to leave a lasting impression? Show up completely or don't show up at all. If you're tired of being ignored, of standing in front of her while she pretends you don't even exist, then stop being an idiot. Read the ebook in the description and learn to be the man who demands respect. No more accepting disdain. No more being treated like a background character in your own life. It's time for you to be 100% present, to never let anyone walk all over you. She'll either learn to value you or she'll leave, but you'll never be the second option again. It's time to turn the game around and take charge of what's yours. Number 4, have self-love. Here's an inconvenient truth. If you can't even like yourself, why the hell do you think anyone will want to be by your side? Having self-love is the bare minimum, not just to attract someone, but to ensure they don't run away screaming after the first date. Nothing is more draining than being around someone who drags themselves through life, constantly comparing themselves to others, complaining about their face or body as if that's the highlight of the conversation. Seriously, no one has the time or energy to be the personal therapist of someone who can't even see their own worth. Now here's the bonus that comes with lack of self-love: pathological jealousy. Insecure men who think they're going to be replaced at any moment by the pizza delivery guy or the man in the bread line are, at the very least, unbearable. This "nobody loves me, nobody wants me" desperation only leads to possessive and controlling behaviors, as if the woman were a trophy that needs to be locked away. Guess what? She won't be. Because, surprise, no one wants to deal with a pit of insecurity disguised as a boyfriend. Women want men who are confident, who know how to take care of themselves, and who, above all, respect themselves. This doesn't mean being narcissistic or arrogant, but having the bare minimum awareness that you're worth something. If you know that, you don't need to constantly seek validation or engage in imaginary competitions with everyone who walks by. The man who has self-love and takes care of himself, now that guy becomes unforgettable because he exudes security without having to play the low-budget alpha male. Self-love also gives you the peace of mind to be who you are without that pathetic need to prove something all the time. You know what you bring to the table, and you know you don't have to compare yourself to the rest of the world because you're comfortable with yourself. And do you know what's more attractive than that? Nothing. True confidence has no competition. A man who truly loves himself, besides being a magnet, can also maintain a relationship without the "am I good enough" neurosis. So, if you're still not convinced, let me be clearer. Before trying to win over any woman, at least try to win over yourself. Number 5, be trustworthy and honest. Want to be remembered for more than just existing? Be trustworthy and honest. Simple, right? But apparently this combination is rarer than finding unicorns. If you think just saying, "I'm trustworthy," is enough for someone to believe you, sorry. But no one's going to fall for that. Trust is built through concrete actions, not empty declarations. A woman will remember you if, instead of promising the world, you're the guy who actually does what he says without needing fireworks to announce your intentions. Honesty, by the way, goes far beyond just telling the truth when asked. The issue here is being authentic from the start. No mind games or cheap manipulations. If you're halfway into "I'll make her think I'm someone else to impress her," or "I'll pretend to be uninterested so she'll chase me," congratulations, you're headed straight for the path to being forgotten. Honesty isn't just about not lying. It's about being transparent, not hiding your intentions, or playing the enigmatic card thinking it's charming. Spoiler, it's not. When you're trustworthy, you create a solid foundation. And believe it, this emotional security you offer is something few women find out there. In a world full of people who love to act clever, being someone she can rely on is a huge differentiator. Trust is like the brick that holds the building up. If it's weak, the whole thing collapses. When you show that you're truly there, that you won't disappear at the first sign of difficulty or weave in little lies, that's when you become unforgettable. And look, this isn't even about performing great heroic deeds. You don't need to save the world or make promises you don't even believe in. What makes the difference are the small actions that show you're genuine. Consistency between what you say and what you do. She'll remember the guy who didn't need to act perfect, but who was honest, trustworthy, and transparent. Because at the end of the day, the guys who play dirty or manipulate might get results, but they're temporary. The ones who stay are the ones who knew how to be real, without frills, without games. So, if you want to be the kind of man she never forgets, start with the basics. Be someone she can trust. Not the guy who promises the world and delivers crumbs, but the one who's honest in his actions, words, and intentions. Because if there's one thing that never goes out of style, it's the truth. Number 6, keep a good sense of humor. If there's one thing that'll get you out of the just another guy category and into the impossible to forget category, it's a good sense of humor. And when I say good humor, I don't mean turning into the stand-up comedian of the moment, telling jokes non-stop as if you were rehearsing for a Netflix special. The real differentiator is knowing how to face life with a light heart, even when things are going downhill. If you're the guy who, in the midst of chaos, can still crack a good joke or ease the tension with a genuine laugh, you've already won half the game. Laughter is one of the greatest emotional bonds there is. When you make a woman laugh, especially in tough situations, you're not just creating a fun moment. You're showing that even when life throws a curveball, you can keep your cool and still make her feel better. And guess what? That's something she'll remember forever. No mystery. The guy who makes her genuinely laugh is the guy who stays in her memory. Of course, common sense is mandatory here. Nobody can stand the class clown who tries to turn everything into a joke. Knowing how to balance humor is key. You don't need to be the court jester 24/7. Women value men who know how to balance humor with seriousness, who understand when it's time to joke and when it's better to shut up and listen. The secret is to bring levity at the right moment, without forcing it or, worse, resorting to stupid and offensive jokes thinking you're nailing it. And for the love of God, learn the difference between fun humor and deprecating humor. That old formula of, I'll make fun of others to feel funny, only shows how insecure you are. Nothing kills the mood faster than someone who thinks being funny means putting others down. Real good humor is the kind that lifts the spirits of those around you, that turns simple situations into something pleasant and unforgettable. So the lesson here is simple. Use humor as a powerful tool to create good memories. You don't have to be the funniest man in the world. You just need to know how to use laughter to connect, to lighten, to bond. Because at the end of the day, the people who make us genuinely laugh are the kind of people we never forget. Number 7, have the courage to be unforgettable. Now let's get to the grand finale, the punch that'll knock you out of your bubble of mediocrity, and who knows, make you something more than just a fleeting memory in a woman's mind. Courage. That's right, the courage to be authentic, to make decisions, and to stand by your choices without trembling like a leaf. If you want to be unforgettable, learn this once and for all. The world isn't for those who apologize for existing. It's for those who have the guts to stand out, to be seen, to do something that has an impact. Forget this pathetic posture of staying in the shadows, afraid to make a mistake. Mistakes are part of life, and guess what? Women aren't looking for perfect dolls. They're looking for men who truly live, who face life with their heads held high, and who don't hide behind excuses. It's your courage to be who you are, to assert yourself, to chase after your own truths, that will make her remember you when everything else has faded away. But pay attention. Courage here doesn't mean being a jerk, shouting with your chest puffed out thinking that makes you an alpha. That just makes you an idiot. Courage is about having the guts to be vulnerable, to speak your mind, to show your flaws, and not give a damn about what others will think. It's about being sincere, even when the truth hurts. It's about taking the reins of your own life and not waiting for the universe to hand things to you on a silver platter. And please have ambition. Ambition to be better, to do something big, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Because those who settle for being mediocre, who live lukewarm lives, are forgotten. Do you know what's unforgettable? A man who not only has big ideas but chases after them, who can inspire, who looks at life and thinks, I'll do more, I'll be more. So, if you want to be the kind of man who leaves a mark, who makes her heart skip a beat when she thinks of your name, do yourself a favor. Have courage. Courage to live intensely, to not just be another one. Because the worst thing you can be in life is forgettable. If you don't have the guts for that, then don't even bother trying. So that's it. In the end, either you choose to be unforgettable, or you keep living in the comfortable mediocrity where no one will even remember your name a month from now. Everything I've said here isn't about magic or cheap tricks to win over women. It's about having the courage to be someone worth remembering. Someone who leaves a mark, who makes a difference, who stands out not because they followed a manual, but because they had the audacity to be authentic, trustworthy, funny, present, and above all, courageous. So, if you got this far hoping for a miraculous recipe to become the dream guy, sorry, there's no shortcut. The path is simple but brutal. Be someone who lives with intensity, who faces life head-on, and who, when they walk into a room, everyone knows they've arrived. If you're not up for that, don't even start. Be unforgettable or keep being just another one. Now go and stop wasting time being mediocre. The show's over.